UFC Vegas 101 took place this weekend, and you know that we're in the matchmaking business, so this is going to be a first matchmaking video of the year. There aren't that many crazy matches to be made on this card. A lot of the fighters aren't ranked. A lot of them are, there's some no names on here, but I do got some interesting matchups I'm going to share with you. It's not going to be a super long video because not everyone's on here, but let's go through them and just see who I believe should be match made with who. I don't really know how to say that, so we'll go in. Mackenzie Dern obviously had a big win over Amanda Ribas via submission. She has literally fought everyone in the division already, so it's pretty much going to be just rematches for her. I think the only person she hasn't fought is Tatiana Suarez. She's obviously fighting for a title. I don't think Mackenzie Dern's getting a title shot after a submission over Amanda Ribas and a decision that she actually lost over Lupe Godinez, but she's beautiful. It is what it is. I think match her up, put her, she is coming off 2 wins in a row, maybe 3, no, because she lost to Lemos. She's coming off 2 wins in a row here. A finish in her last fight in a main event. I say give her a number 1 contenders fight with Virna Jandiroba. This will be a rematch. Mackenzie Dern actually beat Virna Jandiroba, and I would find this to be very interesting because where Virna Jandiroba beats people is on the ground and in the grappling. I don't know that she's going to be able to out-grapple Mackenzie Dern fully in this fight, so I think it would be a very interesting fight considering Mackenzie Dern's jiu-jitsu is very good. It's a rematch. Dern's already won the fight, but Virna Jandiroba's kind of sitting in line waiting for her title shot. They just haven't given it to her because, I'm sorry you have to look at this, but that's why they're not giving it to her. They gave it to Suarez over Jandiroba because of the visuals. Let's call a spade here. We got Raul Rosas with crooked eyes. But anyway, we're going to move on. Amanda Ribas obviously lost in that fight. By the way, I think this Jandiroba versus Dern fight should be sometime around April. Dern didn't take too much damage in that fight at all. I'm sure she's going to want to stay active. Virna Jandiroba is going to be looking for a fight very soon. I think her last fight was in July and hasn't fought since then, so she's probably going to be looking for a fight. I say Jandiroba versus Dern, April. You can do prelims of a pay-per-view. Please don't. You can do the main card of an Apex Fight Night. Don't make this a fucking main event, dude. Please, UFC, learn. You're lucky that the card turned out the way it was because of the other finishes on it. Stop putting these fights that we don't actually give a fuck about as the main event. So, put this on the feature fight of a fucking Apex card. That's fine. I don't care. You can put it on the main card of a fucking fight night. I'm cool with that. But it cannot be a 5-round main event. I'm not waiting up all night to watch this fucking fight. Amanda Ribas lost in the last fight. I think she fights Jillian Robertson. They have not fought yet. Amanda Ribas is another woman that has fought a lot of people in this division already and in the flyweight division. I say Jillian Robertson. That is the best looking picture of Jillian Robertson I've ever seen, by the way. Gorgeous. I think this is a fight to make. Jillian Robertson's going to be looking for a jump up in the rankings coming off a win streak here. Amanda Ribas is going to have to look down in the rankings coming off 2 losses in a row to Rose and Mackenzie Dern. I think it makes sense. Ribas, Robertson, again, put this on a fight night. You can put it as the prelims on a pay-per-view whenever you go to fucking Canada next, something like that. Makes sense to me. Again, do not make this an Apex Fight Night main event. This isn't one where you're going to have all the guys go, dude, if you don't actually like this fight, it's high-level jiu-jitsu, high-level grappling, even though we saw Ribas get submitted. This is really high-level grappling, and if you don't, like this as a main event and don't watch the sport, bro, they ain't letting you hit, all right? Stop trying to be such a fucking hardcore. Ribas, Robertson makes sense to me. I'd say sometime around May, April. Yeah, I'm thinking about that time. Moving on, Cesar Almeida, sick knockout win. First fight of the year, first card of the year, we have a knockout of the year contender because of how back and forth it was. Cesar Almeida, Marco Tulio, another guy that fought on the same card, had a first round finish. Listen, Cesar Almeida's not in the spot where he's going to be jumping up into the rankings, man, with a win because he lost to Kopylov, clearly. He's going to lose to anyone that can actually grapple. They're giving him these tailor-made matchups, and he did get knocked down by Abdulrazak Alhassan. So, listen, I think you give him a proper fight where he can showcase his skills, but give him a fun fight. I think Marco Tulio's a fun fight. They're on the same card. Their timeline matches up, and they're both very, very impressive finishers. So I'd be very interested to see how this goes. See if Marco Tulio can implement grappling. We'll find that out in this fight. But personally, I just think this is a sick fight. Probably going to stand on the feet. Probably going to end in a knockout. That's what we're looking for out of Cesar Almeida's career. He's not making a title run here at 37, 38 years old. He's not Alex Pereira. Let's stop just with saying every kickboxer is Alex Pereira, because they're not. Let's be real. But Cesar Almeida versus Marco Tulio makes all the sense in the world to me. April turnaround time. I know these kickboxers like to stay very active. Tulio took 0 damage. Cesar Almeida did get knocked down, took some damage, but again, he's a very, very active fighter. He gets in the octagon very frequently. This makes a lot of sense to me. So Almeida, Tulio, sometime in April, make it happen. Moving on. Roman Kopylov. Impressive performance against Chris Curtis. Ranked opponent time. Michel Pereira. Let's see how it goes, dude. Can Roman Kopylov withstand the 1.5 minutes of cardio that Michel Pereira has and the power that he has in those 1.5 minutes? Or can Pereira knock out Roman Kopylov? Because if Kopylov is able to make it past here, this is a fight that's probably going to stay on the feet most of the time. I can see Pereira trying to get it to the ground, but I can see Kopylov being good enough to stuff the takedown. But this is going to be sick. These are two really, really good strikers. One super powerful and crazy. The other one very technical, very fast. This would be an awesome matchup. It's a ranked opponent for Roman Kopylov, which I think he deserves. And Michel Pereira's got to fight outside the rankings, man. He lost to Anthony Hernandez and did not look impressive at all. Defend your ranking spot. I think the guy to do that against is Roman Kopylov, man. He's coming off a very impressive win over Chris Curtis. Even if it was an early stoppage because there was 3 seconds left on the clock and should have just let it go to decision, he would have won 29-28 anyway. But Roman Kopylov versus Michel Pereira, this is a good fight. I think that Kopylov's going to want to take some time off. Took a lot of damage in that fight. Probably going to be looking at around a May return, about 4 months there, and then that'll be 6 months for Michel Pereira. He can get his wits back about him, start working on his cardio, and see how it all works out. I'm saying Michel Pereira versus Roman Kopylov is the sick fight to make. May, co-main event of a fight night, makes all the sense in the world to me. Moving on. Chris Curtis. Looked good, man. Performance was damn good. It's just he fought a guy that was just... Kopylov was he hit his flow state at the end of that fight. It was just a great fight, man. That's a stock rising performance for Chris Curtis in a loss yet again. I'm going Chris, and I know he said, I don't know what my career is going to look like going forward here now. I think Chris Curtis is just kind of an emotional baby at times. You see that a lot with him in interviews and shit like that. He's kind of acts like a fucking chick, if I'm being real. But Chris Curtis, let's see him fight Gerald Meerschaert. These guys haven't fought yet. It's a good fight. It's a good fight at middleweight. These guys haven't fought yet, and they're two dudes that have a ton of experience in the octagon. Think it would actually make for a fun fight. You do this as the main card opener of a fight night. Makes all the sense in the world to me. By the way, the only pay-per-view worthy fight on this is going to be this one. I'd put this on the main card of a pay-per-view, main card opener I would watch. It'd be sick. This can be on the prelims of a pay-per-view, but wouldn't do anything other than that. Unless you did it in Brazil, then they're going to fucking put it on the pay-per-view, because let's be real, man, they don't give the Brazilian the good cards anymore because, let's be real, the crowd is fucking... They're rude, man. They're fucking bad people, man. They're fucking trashing the cage. They're leaving Glover during his retirement fight. Sick, disgusting humans for doing that. Fucking terrible. It's a legend of the sport, one of your champions, and you fucking left them out to dry. Shitty people. But yeah, that makes all the sense in the world to me, is put this as the main card opener of a fight night. Makes a lot of sense. It's a good fight. They haven't fought each other. Moving on, Christian Rodriguez, another impressive performance against an undefeated prospect. Bashy, we're not matchmaking in here because he's got some more work to do. He's younger. Don't know necessarily what we should do with him yet. Probably give him an easier fight than Christian Rodriguez. Just saying. But Christian Rodriguez should fight Nate Landwehr. This guy, this makes a lot of sense. Nate Landwehr's coming off a loss. Christian Rodriguez is coming off a win. Think it's a good stylistic matchup where both can grapple but would prefer to strike. And I think that's what we would see, is just a fun back and forth fight where both guys get exhausted, but it's like a who wants it more at the end. That's the kind of fight that we see steal the show on a main card of a fight night. I would honestly be comfortable with making this as the fourth fight on the main card of a fight night, the feature fight of a main card of a fight night in the Apex, something like that. Hate that I'm suggesting the Apex, but the UFC won't fucking leave the Apex, so it is what it is. Christian Rodriguez, Nate Landwehr is my matchup to make. Moving on, Puna Soriano, great knockout over Uros Medic. Oban Elliott. Listen, Oban Elliott's been on a tear recently. Puna Soriano at welterweight has looked like a problem so far. I think this is a great matchup to make. Two dudes that, again, they can grapple, but they're going to prefer to strike. Southpaw versus southpaw. Power versus grit and technique. I think this is a great fight. This is one of those fights that the hardcores are going to look and you're going to go, damn, this is one to keep an eye out for. Prelims of a pay-per-view, Oban Elliott, Puna Soriano. Dude, Puna Soriano can make a quick turnaround. I actually would suggest you make this as, put this as the main card or the prelim headliner of the UFC Fight Night in London. I'm honestly okay with this being the main card opener of the UFC Fight Night card in London for Della Maddalena Edwards if Edwards actually signed the fucking contract, because you know how he is. He's Leon Edwards. He's a fucking bitch. But Puna Soriano, Oban Elliott makes all the sense in the world to me. These are two rising welterweight contenders coming off big knockouts. This fight would make a splash. It's one that a lot of people are going to look at and go, okay, dude, this is legit as fuck for the card. Main card opener, UFC London, March 22nd. Oban Elliott's probably going to fight on that card because he's from Wales. Puna Soriano is going to be able to make that quick turnaround. I know we're looking at like a little over 2 months, but dude, this guy went through a fight camp, got a knockout in 30 seconds, and he's like, what is he going to sit around for 5 months? I'm sure he wants to be active. He's 31 years old. He's going to want to be active and turn around, so let's make it happen. Moving on, Felipe Bunez. Good submission win over Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson, my recommendation, cut that bitch. Carlos Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez is coming off a good win at the UFC Macau card. I think this makes sense. Put this on the prelims of a fight night. I'm okay with it in Mexico if Felipe Bunez can make that turn. Actually, I don't think they're going to make that turn. That's March 29th, so why not? Yeah, fuck it. Why not do it in Mexico? March 29th, Bunez, Carlos Hernandez in Mexico, a Brazilian versus an American, but he's Mexican-American, so like you can kind of get away with it. I'm cool with that. Moving on, Thiago Moises. Good win over Ludovic Klein. Did not show me how impressive he was. All I saw was he's got good low kicks and he's good at making sure people can't get off the ground. Mike DeBeck Orelbai. Orelbai's coming off a loss. Took a ton of damage in that loss at the end of last year, at the end of October. So he had a full 2 months for the end of the year and then another 2 weeks for this fight night card to happen. And Moises also took some damage in that fight against Trey Ogden. He did. Not a ton, but he took some. So he's probably going to want a few months off. I say when you go to Brazil, make this happen. Mike DeBeck Orelbai has gone there and fought before. I think Orelbai versus Moises is going to be a good prelim fight for that card. It'll probably get Mike DeBeck Orelbai back on track, or it'll show us that, hey, Moises actually is still in this thing and has a chance to make the top 15. But I think this is a great fight. Moises, Mike DeBeck Orelbai, two really, really good grapplers. Not great striking. I think Orelbai's hands are a little bit more technical, but the low kicks of Moises can cause a problem. So would be very interested to see how it turns out. Moises, Orelbai, I think they'll go to Brazil in probably like May. It's when they went last time. It's when they tend to go a lot. So I'm going to say May, Brazil, prelims, prelim headliner, Mike DeBeck Orelbai, Thiago Moises. It's a good fight. Moving on. Jacoby Smith, man. We're big Jacoby Smith fans on this channel. Carlston Harris. Dude, I get it. You might say this is a massive jump in competition, but let's be real, dude. Like, Carlston Harris and Preston Parsons probably have a decent fight. And Jacoby Smith disposed of Preston Parsons. Now, I know Carlston Harris was on the co-main event, and you're like, dude, how's a prelim guy going to go fight a co-main eventer? Well, Carlston Harris should not have been in the co-main event. And I didn't put Ponzinibbio on here, I'm going to let you know that, because I think he should just retire. Like, he looks a little old. I don't even know who I want to see him fight other than old heads. Like, he's not making a fucking title run here. He's got no chin anymore. Like, he's getting knocked down by Carlston Harris. Come on. Jacoby Smith, Carlston Harris makes a lot of sense to me. We get to see how Jacoby Smith is against someone that's well-rounded. I think Harris is actually a really good grappler. And I think that, he had a decent performance on the feet against Ponzinibbio, but we'll see how it goes. Carlston Harris, Jacoby Smith, I think it's a great fight to make. Prelims of a fight night card, I think it's pretty good. It has a chance to end in a spectacular finish. So I'm saying a pretty quick turnaround for Jacoby Smith, but then again, there was a finish for Carlston Harris, and he's older, so you may want to wait till May. But I don't think that's a problem for Jacoby Smith. Keep working on your craft. Keep getting better. We can do better with those hands. Even though they're powerful, we can do some better footwork. We can do some better kicks. Go in the gym, come back at the end of May, and scrap with Carlston Harris. I think it makes a lot of sense. Moving on, Fatima Klein, which, by the way, I'm going to say, Kopylov guy, I think she's kind of cute. Am I the only guy that thinks so? We'll see. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments about Fatima Klein. like a 7.8 to me. Maybe I need to see more, but because we can't judge when they're in the octagon because they're never looking their best in the octagon. We have to judge outside. I think Fatima Klein versus Piera Rodriguez would make sense. Piera Rodriguez just had a win over Josephine Knudsen on the Tampa card, I believe it was. Fatima Klein had a big win over Victoria Dudakova. Two ladies coming off a win. Makes all the sense in the world. I'd pick Fatima Klein in this, but I think it's got, like, you guys know how I feel about her. I think she's a very good fighter in this division. I think she's got a lot to prove still, but I think she can do it. These are the matchmaking fights for post-UFC Vegas 101. Hopefully we get out of the Apex soon enough, but I know we got one in February. We'll see if Danny can get us out of there quicker than sooner rather than later, but hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please like and subscribe. Let me know if you think there are better matchups to be made.